Chapter 1705. The sun is a foundling Itang. Ian's expression changed dramatically when she saw a young woman in a red dress walking out of the courtyard. Her eyes were filled with joy as she pounced toward Feng Ruching. However, she had not gotten close to Feng Ruching before a fierce gust of wind blew, sending her falling to the ground. She pouted and looked at Feng Ruching pitifully. "Xiao, what brings you here?" Feng Ruching frowned. She then turned to Helian Yu, who was standing outside the gate. "Did you two come together?" Helian Yu's face darkened as she glared at Tang Yin and turned to Feng Ruching back. She smiled and quickly walked over to her. "Xiao Qing, I've made soup for you. It's good for your health." Oh, Feng Ruching could not refuse Helian Yu's good intentions. She also happened to be hungry, so she took the bowl of soup and handed it to the servant next to her. Tang Yin was dumbfounded. Her eyes widened as she looked at Helian Yu and Feng Ruching together, and suddenly, she cried out loud like a big baby. "When Gu Yi and I are not by Xiao Qing's side, she already has a new lover and no longer wants us." "Young lady," Qian Ning tugged on Tang Yin's sleeve. "Maybe if there are more women around Maiden Feng, she'll be able to give up that wild man for all of you?" Tang Yin's eyes lit up, surprisingly feeling that Qian Ning's words made a lot of sense. "We've to unite to beat that vixen. Xiao Yin, why have you come alone? Where's my cousin? Isn't he supposed to be protecting you?" "Oh," Tang Yin chuckled. "Your cousin doesn't know I left home, but I've left letters for them." Feng Ruching raised her eyebrows. "How did you get here?" "The White Phoenix told me how to get here." Tang Yin raised her small head, answering honestly. However, she would not tell Feng Ruching that they had threatened the White Phoenix with its secret to get the information from it. "You are." Feng Ruching turned to look at Helian Yu. "You go to my grandfather first. I have something to discuss with Xiao Yin." Helian Yu froze. However, she was always used to being obedient in front of Feng Ruching, so after hearing her words, she still nodded obediently. "All right, Xiao Yin, you come with me?" Feng Ruching smiled faintly and turned to the servant behind her. "Call Xiaoya for me." "Xiaoya?" Tang Yin was lost. "Xiaoya is also with Xiao Qing?" Me for extra chapters. Even though she had only had a few encounters with Xiaoya, she somehow had a good feeling about her. That kind of fondness was innate, and it was not because that time Xiaoya had risked her life to save Tang Yin. Qing and Xian naturally understood what Feng Ruching was going to do. He stroked her hair and said, "When I go back, I'll brew some phoenix soup for you." Feng Ruching stroked her chin. "That phoenix has bad intentions towards Sui and wants to be your father. It is indeed better to make a bowl of soup out of it." If they were in Songyu mainland, no one would have dared to bully Tang Yin, and she could cultivate peacefully. However, this was land of no return. It was dangerous here. It was simply impossible for Tang Yin to cultivate peacefully when she had come to land of no return. Chapter 1706. The sun is a foundling. Once she made a breakthrough, she would attract countless people to compete. If she was not careful, the enemy might take her away. Then, the White Phoenix would be blamed. In the backyard, no one was allowed to step foot in the backyard because of Feng Ruching's command. In this noisy general manner, the backyard was the only quiet place. Xiaoya hurriedly ran over, and she immediately saw the young girl standing in front of Feng Ruching. Tears flowed down her cheeks, and she covered her mouth tightly to prevent herself from crying out loud. Tang Yin seemed to have sensed something and turned around. She frowned as her gaze fell upon Xiaoya. "Xiaoya, the Duan family no longer exists. There's no need for you and Xiao Yin to hide it." Feng Ruching stood up. Her red dress moved in the wind like a fire engulfing her. Tang Yin's eyes turned to Feng Ruching as she looked at her blankly. "Xiao Qing, what do you mean by that? The Duan family? What do you mean there's no need to hide?" "Xiao Yin." Feng Ruching smiled faintly and raised her hand to hold Tang Yin's hand. The young girl's hand was cold at the moment. "Xiao Yin," Feng Ruching continued, "since you've come today, there are things you must face, and you have the right to know." "Xiao Qing, I don't understand what you're saying." Tang Yin was about to cry from the burning anger, her eyes tearful and pitiful as she looked at Feng Ruching. "Xiao Yin, Do you remember the second master of the Tang family? Your father? Feng Ruching asked in a deep voice. Tang Yin's heart grew heavy whenever someone brought up the Tang family. Well, I remember. He was the one who treated me well in the Tang family. Oh, the elder was also nice to me. Feng Ruching raised her eyes to stare intently at Tang Yin and continued. Then, have you ever wondered why you only have your father and no mothers? Tang Yin was stunned. Her mind was blank. Father said that my mother died while giving birth to me, and that is why I only have him and no mother. Feng Ruching sighed. Xiaoyin actually, the second master of the Tang family, was never married. He brought you home and said that he had married a wife outside to avoid any bad rumors. You are not his biological daughter. This sentence, like a thunderbolt, struck Tang Yin's mind. She trembled, and she looked at Feng Ruching incredulously. Xiao Qing, what are you talking about? Am not my father's daughter, me for extra chapters. Impossible. She was the Tang family's young lady, the daughter of the second master. She was brought home from the outside. Tang Yin bit her lip hard. Her beautiful face turned pale. She shook her head vigorously and took a few steps back. Xiao Qing, you are lying to me, aren't you? If I was picked up from somewhere, then who are my real parents? Why did they abandon me? Am I not cute enough for them? Tears flowed from Tang Yin's eyes, and her voice was tinged with despair and grief. Xiaoyu felt a stinging pain in her heart. She wanted to go up to the young girl and tell her that she would never abandon her. But she was afraid. She was afraid that Tang Yin might not accept her because of her condition right now, and she did not know how to face her daughter. Chapter 1707. The Sun is a Foundling 3, Xiao Yin. Feng Ruching raised her hand and touched Xiao Yin's head gently. She did not plan to tell Tang Yin all these things this soon. However, too many things had happened and might bring danger to Tang Yin. She was unwilling to let Tang Yin bear these things. She just wanted this young girl to live her life without any worries. However, now that she had chosen to come to land of no return, she would have to face it all. Otherwise, Tang Yin would still be in danger. Xiao Yin, the elder came to me back then after you've left the Tang family. Feng Ruching smiled bitterly. He told me this, and Mu Ling suddenly wanted you because he already knew your identity from somewhere. She looked at Feng Ruching. Her eyes widened. My identity? Am I so powerful? So will I be able to defeat that vixen, Nan Xian, in the future? Feng Ruching looked a little confused. Tang Yin's mood changes so fast, quite powerful. It can make many people in the world want to go after you. That's why the person in the Tang family sealed your power in the first place. However, that person is gone now, and once you've finished your cultivation, many people will come to trouble you. Tang Yin was stunned, then cried out, Won't I be miserable then? Well, it's a bit tragic. Initially, when you were in Songyu mainland, no one would have the guts to bother you. However, this is land of no return. There are many strong people here who dare to bother you. At first, she wanted to wait until all her affairs were settled, and when no one in this world dared to touch her people, she would let Tang Yin come over to meet her mother. Unfortunately, Tang Yin had come over on her own accord, Tang Yin cried. It's all because of the White Phoenix. It made me come here. Xiao Qing, what do those people want to arrest me for? Do they want me to be their punching bag? Feng Ruching looked at Tang Yin's crying face seriously. To be their slave? They will use your body to speed up their cultivation. Slave? Tang Yin was stunned. She remembered that she had once read about it in a forbidden book, and this thought made her face turn pale. I want to go back. I want to go back. The men here are horrible. I want to go home. Me for extra chapters. Feng Ruching looked at Tang Yin and said, Do you think my grandfather and I would stay here for so long if we knew how to go back? It's not a place where you can come and go as you wish. Tang Yin blinked, tears flowing again. She cried out loudly at the thought of all those disgusting men watching her. Why me? I don't want to be a slave. Her cries were filled with despair. Why did such a tragic thing have to happen to her? Xiao Ya's lips twitched, and she lowered her head in guilt. If she had not married a human, Ener would not have been born as a beast man, and she would not be hunted by so many people. Moreover, If Ener knew that it was because of her that she had become so miserable, would she still be willing to accept Xiaoya as her mother? Feng Ruqing looked at Xiaoya, who had her head lowered, and naturally understood her heart's worry. Chapter 1708. The son is a foundling IV. However, she believed that Xiao Yin had a soft heart, and this matter was not Xiao Ya's fault. Xiao Yin could not blame her mother. Xiao Yin, this is the reason why I came to talk to you alone today. Feng Ruqing's expression was serious. Next, no matter what I say, you must remain calm. Tang Yin's legs were a little weak. So, you did not make your main point just now? There's something else? And she said she wanted to see me alone. But why is Xiaoya here? Does this matter also involve Xiaoya? Tang Yin said pitifully, Xiaoqing, if you have something to say, just say it quickly. Please don't scare me. I can't stand it. Well, it's nothing. Many people want you because you are a beast man. Beast. Beast man? Tang Yin was dumbfounded. She lifted her small face in shock, staring blankly at Feng Ruqing. Am a beast man? How did I become a beast man? So all these years, she was not human. Xiaoqing, Tang Yin's voice was cracked. If I am not human, would you still like me? Feng Ruqing looked at Tang Yin, confused. Did I ever like you? Tang Yin was speechless. She froze, and her heart was filled with coldness. And Feng Ruqing was silent for a moment. The Duan family? That is your father's family. And your mother, she raised her gaze to Xiaoya. Is Xiaoya? Tang Yin's body slightly stiffened in the light breeze. After hearing Feng Ruqing's words, she slowly turned her head as her eyes fell upon Xiaoya. Xiaoya was a little nervous, not daring to come closer to Tang Yin. She only dared to stand a short distance away, looking at Tang Yin with expectant eyes. Tang Yin pursed her lips. Are you my mother? Xiaoya felt like something was stuck in her throat. She wanted to say something, but she did not even dare to go forward and hug her daughter, whom she had missed for so many years. Tang Yin's eyes were fixed upon Xiaoya. I remember the first time I saw you. I always felt that the way you looked at me was strange. Me for extra chapters. At Xiaoqing's wedding ceremony back then, she was the one who would have gotten injured, but Xiaoya had rushed up to her and blocked the sword for her. Xiao Ya's dropped in front of Tang Yin, and it made her heart hurt. She had always thought that Xiaoya saved her for Xiaoqing, but she never thought that there would be such a connection between her and Xiaoya. If you are my mother, then who is my real father? And why have you been disfigured? How did you lose your voice? Tang Yin clenched her fists tightly. Her voice was cold. Before she knew Xiao Ya's identity, she had only sympathized her. However, Xiaoqing had said that Xiaoya was her biological mother. Her mother was so miserable that she was willing to save her daughter's life. So how could Tang Yin abandon her mother? She believed that she was only entrusted to the Tang family because her mother had no other choice. Xiaoya opened her mouth. She was unable to speak, but her eyes were filled with grief. Xiao Yin. Feng Ruqing slowly stepped forward and held Tang Yin's shoulder. I'll tell you about the Duan family later. Back then, when both of you were being hunted down, your mother ran to Cangyu mainland and entrusted you to that person in the Tang family. Do you still remember Jiaxian? He's also from Land of No Return. If you want to escape to Cangyu mainland, you have to give up all of your power, and that's why your mother had no strength to fight back. Chapter 1709. The son is a foundling V. After she went at Cangyu mainland, many people chased after her because they knew her daughter was a beast man. Fortunately, second master of the Tang family passed by and saved you. Tang Yin trembled. Hunting us? And who are the people who are hunting me? The Duan family, your real grandfather and your father's concubine. Feng Ruqing did not want to hide anything from Tang Yin. She deserved to know everything. Tang Yin closed her eyes slowly. She had enjoyed her father's love when she was in the Tang family before he died. She had never met her mother, and the old master of the Tang family had told her that her mother loved her very much, so she had always felt very happy. The elders of the Tang family, they were also pretty good to her, except for a few ones who had bad intentions. But none of them really hurt her. Later, they wanted to use her, disregarding her happiness and hurting the woman she loved the most, which was why she chose Xiaoqing and abandoned the entire Tang family. Now, her mother loved her very much, as the old master of the Tang family had said to her. However, her birth father, and the so-called real grandfather, this matter was really hard for her to accept. I don't want to know about the Duan family, and don't mention them to me again. The old master of the Tang family is my one and only grandfather. There will be no one else. I don't like the others. Those who chose to abandon her. She would never forgive them. Don't worry. Feng Ruqing raised her hand and hugged Tang Yin. The Duan family no longer exists. Oh, that's good. So what if she and the Duan family had blood ties? She had never met anyone from the Duan family and had no feelings that would hurt her to destroy the Duan family. When the Tang family disappeared, she was sad for a while, but the Tang family was at fault. They hurt Xiaoqing's mother, and she could not forgive them. It was just that there were too many memories of her in the Tang family, and she was not a hard-hearted person. Of course, she would be a bit reluctant to let them go. Nancian am sleepy. Feng Ruqing yawned. I've said all I have to say. Just let them reconnect on their own. Let's go. All right, Nancian responded faintly. He walked over to Feng Ruqing and pulled her waist. Me for extra chapters. Nancian, this one on my belly. Is it a boy or a girl? Feng Ruqing smiled. If it's a nice and pretty little girl, it'll stay with her. And if it's a boy, they'll let him go out and cultivate on his own after he can walk. Is that all right? All right, I'll listen to you. Nancian looked at Feng Ruqing's belly. A cold light flashed in his eyes. Be it as a boy or a girl, I'll not let them haunt Qing forever. The backyard was suddenly quiet. Xiaoyu was a little restless, rubbing her sleeves, looking at Tang Yin anxiously. Tang Yin was also a bit silent. She was not quite used to such a situation and did not know how to speak. Only after half a moment did she ask, Are you really my mother? Xiaoyu nodded slightly, her expression growing more and more nervous. So, am I really a beast man? Tang Yin bit her lip, her voice cracking. Chapter 17:10. The son is a foundling. Vi Xiaoyu trembled and lowered her head, not daring to look directly at Tang Yin's eyes. Forget it. Beast man or not, I'm still better than the snow wolf. Tang Yin sighed, but slowly began to accept her real identity. By the way, did you already know I was your daughter? Xiaoyu pursed her lips and remained silent. The spirit beast was familiar with her child's scent. From the first moment she saw Tang Yin, she knew this girl was her daughter. However, she did not tell her daughter because she had no confidence and she was afraid that her daughter would hate her. Since you already knew it long ago, why didn't you tell me earlier? Tang Yin exhaled. My mother was clearly by my side and has saved my life, yet I didn't know anything about it. Do you know what it feels like? Xiaoyu raised her eyes and looked at Tang Yin in panic. Forget it, Tang Yin sighed. I would have found out sooner or later anyway. It's not that hard to accept. I just don't want to be a slave to someone else. Xiaoya's heart tightened. She reached out and grabbed Tang Yin's arm. No, she would never let anyone take Tang Yin away. She would do everything, to the point of risking her own life, to protect her daughter. But Tang Yin tilted her head. You mustn't let anyone know that I'm a beast man, especially that woman who's clinging on to Xiaoqing. What if she laughs at me when she finds out that I'm not human? Xiaoyu opened her mouth and lowered her head in guilt. It was her fault. She was the one who had harmed Iner. Don't be like this. Tang Yin looked at Xiaoya's sad face. I'm not saying that being a beast man is not good. I just feel that Xiaoqing doesn't seem to like spirit beasts. She never allows the snow wolf to hug her, but Qingling, Luo Li, and those girls from Iron-Blooded Gate can hug her. Tang Yin pouted. Xiaoqing wouldn't let me get close to her back then. What if she doesn't like me now? Xiaoyu looked at Tang Yin blankly. Whether it was the 9th emperor in her previous life or the current Feng Ruqing, both were very fond of spirit beasts. Why did Xiao Yin feel this way? General manner. Me for extra chapters. In the east wing of the backyard, Feng Ruqing held her chin and smiled brightly as she watched Ahua and other beasts busily cleaning the yard for her. The more you look at this kind of creature, the more you like it. They are not only strong, but also can be a good worker, Feng Ruqing said smilingly. Nancian, Do you think a Hua looks as cute as a dog when it's working? Well, the more I look at it, the more I'll like it. If Qing'er said it's a dog, and then it is indeed a dog. Nan Xian smiled gently. You should go rest first. I still have a few things to settle. Feng Ruqing frowned. Is it about the woman who was with Feng Lianqing that day? Have you located her? Qing, you don't need to worry about these things. They'll settle everything for you. Nan Xian smiled. You just need to rest at home at ease. All right, you can go, but always be safe. Feng Ruqing frowned lightly. Don't worry. It'll be safe. You just stay at home and wait for me. He was never afraid of anything in this world before he met Feng Ruqing. Chapter 17:11. The son is a foundling Vi, however. He was more careful with her because he could not bear to leave her alone in the world. The grief that he had experienced in a dream, he did not want to go through that again. Nan Xian gently pressed a kiss on Feng Ruqing's lips. The kiss was as gentle as the warm breeze. Wait for me at home. Nan Xian turned around and left. Feng Ruqing stood quietly, staring at Nan Xian's departure figure, lost in thought. A voice of an old person suddenly came from behind her and brought her thought back. Qing'er. Feng Ruqing turned, and her gaze fell on the old man in red robes. She smiled. You're looking for me? Yes. Tianya smiled. When your friend came just now, I happened to pass by and took a look. Unfortunately, you don't have an old man like me in your eyes, and you didn't even notice when I walked up behind you. Feng Ruqing was speechless. Just now, she was so full of thoughts on how to talk to Tang Yin about this that she did not even pay attention to Tianya. You came to me just to talk about this? No. Tianya shook his head. I just took a look at that little girl. I guess she's a beast man, right? Feng Ruqing was slightly stunned. She did not expect that Tianya would notice Xiao Yin's identity. That's right. She's a beast man. Ah! Tianya laughed cheerfully. It seems my vision hasn't deteriorated. That girl is a beast man. Qing, do you know what a beast man represents? Feng Ruqing's eyes sank slightly. It represents talent and strength. The existence of beast men is a combination of humans and spirit beasts, so they are more powerful than the average human. But that little girl, she's stronger than the average beast man, and I'm sure one of her parents has a very strong and special power. Special? Feng Ruqing was silent. She still did not know what kind of spirit beast Xiaoya was, and Xiaoya never mentioned it, so she did not ask more. Tianya could see Xiao Yin was a beast man, but he did not know that Xiaoya was a spirit beast me for extra chapters. You are destined to endure hardships and ups and downs with her. Suddenly, Feng Ruqing laughed. Grandfather, back then, Mother was captured by the Tang family, and Xiao Yin was the Tang family's young lady. Of course, before that, I didn't know that Mother was in their hands. Back then, I went to the Tang family only to get some medicines for my father. The Tang family gave it to Tang Yu, and they even confronted me about it. Her thought drifted back to the moment she met Tang Yin. Tang Yin was willing to turn her back on the Tang family for me. She gave up the place where she grew up, only to be on my side. So, even if Tang Yin is really a dangerous person, how can I ever give her up? Back then, the Tang family was reclusive. She was just the princess of Lu Yun Kingdom. If Tang Yin was so determined to stay by her side, then she would protect Tang Yin in this life. Huh? Tianya laughed wildly, and the laughter echoed throughout the entire general manor. Chapter 17:12. The son is a foundling 8-inch. You're really my brave granddaughter. If I had been afraid of things back then, I wouldn't have rushed off to the reclusive world on my own. Don't worry, Qing'er. No matter what choice you make, grandfather will always be on your side. He smiled proudly. If anyone in this world dares to touch my granddaughter for this, then I will destroy the entire land of no return, just like what I almost did to the reclusive world back then. Feng Ruqing smiled faintly. Thank you, grandfather. You don't have to thank your grandfather. Tianya patted Feng Ruqing's back, smilingly. You're different from your father. He's too soft back then. That was why those people dared to bully your mother. If I were there, I would have destroyed the whole family of people who dared to bully my son. Even though Feng Tianyu held the bloodline, the harem was still stirring up so much trouble. This was simply a disgrace to him. When he went back, no one would be allowed to say that Tianya was Feng Wuhui. He could not let those people in the reclusive world know that Feng Tianyu was his son. It was so embarrassing. Feng Ruqing smiled. All people in Songyu mainland always praised his father. She had never heard anyone say that her father was useless. Her grandfather was the first one to say it. However, she somehow felt that what his grandfather said did make sense. Tianya always took his people and kingdom seriously, and he could also be a ferocious devil if someone crossed his line. He was the kind of man who would never let anyone step on his head, like what had happened to the three major forces of Songyu mainland. Girl, your mother is pretty decisive, but your father is a coward. You should never learn from him. I can beat 10 people like him just with one punch. Feng Ruqing was stunned. She cleared her throat and said, Grandfather is right. You can beat 10 of my father with one punch. After all, he can't be so lucky as grandfather to leave the kingdom to his son and go out for a dashing adventure by himself. Tianya smiled awkwardly. Are you praising me or belittling me? If he's capable, he'll also have a son to toil for him. Feng Ruqing was silent for half a moment before continuing. I have a younger brother named Feng Chun, whom I told you about a few months ago. Tianya froze. I forgot about him. In their family, were all the sons of foundling? Me for extra chapters. Feng Ruqing could not help but feel sorry for Feng Chun. I'm not going to disturb your rest. Tianya smiled. My dear granddaughter, just ask someone to come to me if you need anything and don't stress yourself. If someone in Wushang City bullies you, beat them up and drive them out. All right, Feng Ruqing responded. When he saw that Feng Ruqing had agreed, Tianya turned around with a smile on his face and left. After Tianya left, Feng Ruqing pushed open the door and walked in. There was the soup that Helian Yu had just brought for her on the table, and it was still warm. She went to the table and poured a small bowl of soup from the soup pot. Due to her hunger, she drank the soup in one gulp. Poof! The moment it entered her mouth, she could not hold it in and had spat it out. Chapter 1713. The sun is a foundling. Ix Feng Ruqing's expression darkened, gritting her teeth. Helian Yu is trying to kill me. The taste of this soup was indescribably strange. The smell was fine, but the taste, it was very hard to describe. In comparison, Tang Yin's goldfish soup was better, even though she was about to vomit after drinking it. Feng Ruqing stared at the soup on the table. A cold light flashed in her eyes. Someone bring this soup to Feng Lianqing. Tell him that Helian Yu brewed it for him. Yes, young lady. At this time, in another part of the mainland, an ancient city surrounded by a mountain range. This city was called Nan City. All people in this city had their spirit beasts with them. However, unlike other spirit beasts, their eyes were somewhat dull and did not have the energy that a spirit beast should have. The Nan family was the owner of Nan City. After the old master of the Nan family was paralyzed in bed, the Nan family was inherited by his adopted son, Nan Fong. At this moment, within the Nan family, the elders were expressing their anger, as if someone had killed their whole family. Master, that old man Tianya is really going too far. Don't we need to send someone to teach him a lesson? Our Nan family is stronger than Tianya, so why should we be afraid of him? That's right. Not long ago, my grandson went out for a trip and fell in love with a girl. But it was that girl who first seduced my grandson and then backstabbed him. Tianya beat my grandson without reason and said that he would beat all the members of the Nan family when he saw them again. Nan Fang's face was cold, and as he sat right in front of the chair, not speaking, he remained silent for a long time. Then he slowly spoke. You know the reason why our Nan family doesn't leave Nan City? We are the most powerful here, but other forces are our match outside of Nan City. The crowd was silent, no longer speaking. Tianya has some connections with those forces. I don't understand why he doesn't go to them, but stays in that shabby place called Wushang City. For now, we don't have a way to deal with them. Otherwise, it will be a lose-lose situation. The people continued to be silent for a long time. They somewhat agreed with the head of the family. The Nan family was now strong because of those spirit beasts. Since the old master was unconscious, the Nan family's strength had declined a lot. Me for extra chapters. If it were not for Tian Yas' connection to those forces, the Nan family would not have let him go. Master, are we going to let him go like this? One of the elders frowned and snapped. People like Tian, you don't deserve to live in the world. Nan Fong sneered. How is the dragon we captured? If we can completely tame it, sooner or later, this dragon will be able to surpass that side's power. Then, our Nan family will rule the world, and no one can go against us. The elders trembled, but they remained silent. Master, we tried torturing that dragon. We also tried using spirit herbs to control it, but we have all failed. It seems that the dragon already has a master, so it doesn't want to accept us. Nan Fong laughed. So, what if it already has a master? Even if it has made a contract with someone, I can still own it. All the spirit beasts in the world belong to our family. So what rights do other people have to rule the spirit beasts besides the Nan family? Chapter 17:14. The son is a foundling. The elder smiled. The old master was too gentle when he became the head of the family. He was strong but useless. The other Nan family members still could not catch up with the other forces in terms of strength if they only depended on him. However, the new head of the family was decisive. He used spirit herbs to control the beast kings in the beast forest and left the other beasts to the Nan family. To them, the spirit beasts were tools, so why shouldn't they use them? If they followed the gentle old master, when would the Nan family ever get the chance to rule land of no return? Among the crowd in the meeting room, only one old man with white hair was hiding in the corner, looking at the group's fierce eyes, not daring to say a word. The new head of the family and the old master were different, and so were their methods. The old master valued peace and freedom. To him, the spirit beasts could become human partners to cultivate and grow together. However, the head of the family now was quite ruthless. In just over 20 years, all spirit beasts in the Spirit Beast Mountain had been controlled by him. He treated the beasts as his private property, and even if the beast had a contract with someone else, he would send someone to snatch the beasts away and kill that person. In the beginning, many clan elders opposed him, but he killed them, leaving only the obedient ones. The old man with white hair had survived until now with hope in his heart. He hoped that the old master would wake up and took back the Nan family, and not let the Nan family be such a mess again. After the meeting was over, Nan Fong left the meeting room and headed toward the prison. The prison was located in the back of Nan Manor, and from afar, he heard an angry voice. You bunch of dog thieves, let me out. If I hadn't recovered my strength, do you think you guys would have been able to catch me? Ridiculous. When I regain the power I had 1,000 years ago, I will be able to destroy your little Nan city with my single breath. The door of the prison was pushed open. At first glance, Nan Fong saw a prison cage, and there was a black dragon inside the cage. The dragon's eyes were glowing with anger, staring at Nan Fong fiercely. At this moment, the dragon was in an impoverished state, with unhealed wounds on its body. Powerful energy filled the cage, but it could not break open the cage no matter how hard it tried. Let me out. At first, it thought that Fu Chun could restore its strength, so it kept Fu Chun by its side. Its recovery speed was quite good but not completely healed. Later, when it saw that the recovery was getting slower, it sent Fu Chun back to Luyan Kingdom. Me for extra chapters. Later, to stop that bastard, Jia Xian, from touching its family, it had used all its power to open the medium and brought Jia Xian back to this world with it. However, it had used too much energy and its power was drained. It had already found a safe place to recover its strength, but who would have thought that it would suddenly smell Little Nine's scent? It left that place to find Little Nine. However, it did not expect to encounter this group of madmen of the Nan family, chasing it and beating it up. If it still had its strength, these people could never have bullied it so badly. The day it regained its power would be the day the Nan family would be destroyed. Nan Fong slowly walked up to the black dragon arrogantly. Do you know what the Nan family will do to deal with the spirit beasts that are unwilling to obey us? The black dragon sneered. I only know what will happen when you offend your ancestors. You and your whole family are the real beasts. Chapter 17:15. Big Black's Wrath. Nan Fong sneered as he walked toward the Black Dragon. Our Nan family is destined to be the master of all spirit beasts in this world. You will become a traitor if you disobey my orders. The Black Dragon was so angry, its lungs were about to explode. A traitor? Ridiculous. I will only be Little Nine's Big Black for the rest of my life. Black Dragon, I will only give you half a month. If you still refuse to submit to us, then we will kill you. We don't need a minion in the Nan family. The Black Dragon growled. Who is your minion? Even if I am a spirit beast, I still have the right to choose my master freely, and all spirit beasts in the world have the right to choose for themselves. Don't you fear the punishment that will come to you soon for doing these things? Ah! Nan Fong laughed wildly. Punishment is for those who are weak. God can't even control people like me. Guards! He smirked. Keep on torturing this thing. Sheesh. As soon as the words fell, countless electric currents emerged from the giant cage and passed through the Black Dragon's body. The intense pain made the Black Dragon's body tremble, and in a few moments, the smell of burning wafted in the air. It remained silent as its eyes flashed with a bloodthirsty and cruel light. No one saw that its breath was gradually rising with rage that could destroy the world. Master, an old man walked to Nan Fang's side. He looked at the Black Dragon and said, "We found the person this Black Dragon wanted to go looking for." Nan Fong frowned and turned to look at the old man. So soon? Yes, she's in Wushang City. Anyone who came in contact with the Black Dragon had its scent on his body. Unfortunately, no human being in the mainland had contact with the Black Dragon except the spirit beasts. So, it was not easy to find her. Oh, one more thing. That girl has also snatched away so many spirit beasts from the Spirit Beast Mountain, the old man reported respectfully. Boom! Nan Fong smashed his fist on the wall, his eyes glowing with anger. How dare you? How dare you steal spirit beasts from my Spirit Beast Mountain? Who is that person? Me for extra chapters. The old man hesitated for a moment. She's Tianya's granddaughter, Feng Ruching. Tianya. This name made Nan Fong gnash his teeth again, and his eyes flashed with anger. The Nan family's feud with Tianya was only over a small matter. The Nan family loved to tame the spirit beasts, but some of the spirit beasts were unwilling to obey them, like a cat. The cat was caught by them and escaped, and while they were chasing the cat here, they met Tianya. Everyone knew that Tianya loved cats. He killed a skilled master of the Nan family for that cat, which led to the Nan family's undying hatred for him afterward. Nan Fong gradually calmed down as he understood that it was not that easy to kill Tianya's people. Unless, Elder Long, get some Emperor warriors to attack Wushang City. The old man was shocked. Master, it's not easy to provoke Tianya and those people behind him. Chapter 17:16. Big Black's Wrath 2-inch. So, be prepared for these people not to return. Even if they die, they must kill that woman. Nan Fang's eyes flashed with a cold light. The old man was already used to his master's cruelty. He was silent for a moment and said, "All right, I'll get them now." The Nan family's Emperor warriors. There were many Emperor warriors in the Nan family. However, this world was not dominated by the Nan family. The other side might join forces to destroy the Nan family. Therefore, was it worth sacrificing those skilled masters for this matter? Elder Long, there's something you don't understand. The old master was indeed a strong man. However, under his rule, the world only praised the Nan family. But were they afraid of us? I want no one to disobey the orders from the Nan family, and I want the Nan family to conquer the mainland. He continued, if we let someone steal a beast from my Spirit Beast Mountain, and we don't do anything about it, wouldn't that make people think that the Nan family is a coward? What's more, that person is Tianya's granddaughter. Tianya has a connection with other forces. I don't want the mainland to think we are weak. We must win this battle. Besides, the Nan family has lost so many people. We will not let the enemy enter Nan City again. No, I should say, no one would dare to enter Nan City again. That was why Nan Fong had dared to send troops out. The old master of the Nan family was paralyzed, and those forces could have annexed the Nan family. However, in the end, Nan's city was still safe and sound, all because of him. Elder Long fell silent. Elder Long, I remember that among those who were around Father back then, there is one person who is still alive. Nan Fong smirked. Elder Long naturally understood what his master was thinking and nodded. Yes, that old man has always been careful with his work. He has not made any mistakes so far, and I cannot find any reason to kill him. Nan Fong sneered. So this time you send him there. I don't need that old man here. Me for extra chapters. Elder Long was a bit shocked. But, Master, Rong Chi is one of the great warriors of our Nan family. Master, I am not arguing against you. I am just afraid that it won't do any good. Nan Fong stared at Elder Long coldly. Those old men also had outstanding strength. So what? They were not willing to obey my orders. Then why should I keep them? Rong Chi now says nothing, but I know he never agrees with me. I don't need such people. I want only those who can obey me. Elder Long sighed. The new master had been too ruthless and killed most of the older generation's elders, leaving only 2 or 3 people. 2 of them had long been obedient to the master. Rong Chi was the only one. Even though he was not as disobedient as the others, he was as invisible as if he did not exist. This caused resentment to grow in the new master's heart. Rong Chi, why is it so difficult for you to submit to our master? Chapter 1717. Big Black's Wrath 3 Master. He'll follow your order. Good. Nan Fong nodded in satisfaction, but his face remained cold. Elder Long, I hope you won't be like those old men. You have to follow whatever I said. Elder Long trembled. Cold sweat broke out on his forehead. He understood that this time he had said too much and made his master angry. I've said too much. Master, please forgive me. The coldness on Nan Fang's face gradually faded. You can go, he said calmly. Elder Longar bowed in respect and retreated. None of them looked at the black dragon again, as if it had already disappeared inside the huge cage. The black dragon's eyes were bloodshot, and the electricity that struck it had rendered it senseless. Powerful rage surged through its heart, making it lose all of its senses. These people are going to hurt Little Nine. How dare you? It was unable to protect Little Nine in its past life, and this sorrow had hunted it until now. Boom! The black dragon smashed its head on the cage. Its energy made it tremble for a moment. No one looked at him again. Even the people in the dungeon had left. Perhaps they thought that the black dragon in the cage could not do anything again. Therefore, no one noticed that each time the black dragon hit the cage, it became more powerful and its energy gradually increased. Anger, panic, and sadness were like flames burning its heart. The sky in Nan's city suddenly darkened, as if black clouds were floating in the sky. However, no one noticed the difference. They only thought it was the change in the weather, and no one cared about this. The first to notice it was the paralyzed old Master Nan, who was confined to his bed. He cast his gaze out the window to the dark clouds and slowly closed his eyes. Me for extra chapters. The sky in Nan's city will change after all. The door was pushed open, and with a heavy footstep, someone slowly walked up to the old man. Old Master Nan turned his head, not wanting to look at the visitor. Nan Fong looked at the old man, who was still stubborn. He sneered. Father, I've sent Rong Chi to chase after Tianya. Oh, do you know who Tianya is? He has killed a lot of people in our Nan city, and this time I've sent your people to kill him. The old man trembled. He held his own hands tightly, trying to calm down. Oh, I know you don't want him to go, but there's no way to stop me. I've already asked you to rest in this courtyard, and no one is allowed to visit you. There's no way to get him back. Once he dies, the Nan family will be completely mine. Nan Fong smirked, slowly moving toward the head of the bed. Father, do you know what you've done? You wouldn't have caused so much trouble if you had agreed to marry your daughter to me back then. If she has married me, she would have been the lady of the Nan family, and you could have enjoyed your life in peace. The old man's fists were trembling, but he had long been unable to say a word, and even if he had been angry, he could no longer curse like back then. By the way, it's hard that you can't speak now, isn't it? You were the one who cursed me, saying I was ungrateful, calling me a pig or dog. Funny, the ungrateful one is your precious daughter. Can't you see how good I am to her? She said she didn't want to marry me, but why didn't you force her? Now, even if she appears before me, I will not marry her anymore. Chapter 17:18. Escaping I've followed you for so many years. How much have I helped the Nan family with? She's back, and you want to give her the Nan family? So what am I? What about all the years of my hard work? It would have been fine if she had wanted to marry me, but she was so ignorant, and you were indulging her. Father, if you knew that you would end up like this, would you still be so indulgent to your ignorant daughter? The old man closed his eyes. He did not want to look at Nan Fong, let alone answer his questions. But Nan Fong smiled coldly and lowered his eyes. Rong Chi, that old man also knows that he will die this time, so he wants to see you again before he leaves. I'm always reasonable. How can I not fulfill your wish? But you know what to do. Nan Fong straightened up, clapped his hands, smirked. Bring her now. The old master turned his head, and for a moment, a familiar face came to sight. He was agitated, struggling to get up from the bed. Outside the window, a woman prostrated in the doorway with her face full of tears. Her hands pressed against the door with a look of grief and despair on her face. If Feng Ruching were here, she would have seen that the woman looked exactly like Suyi. Father, Nan Fong smiled coldly. So, if you don't want anything to happen to your precious daughter, you'd better be good and obedient. After all, back then, you said that it was her disobedience and unfilial piety that made you give me the headship of the Nan family. He paused and smiled eerily. But what you said that day was true. She should have married me, but she had refused. So, she must pay the price for it. The old master's gaze was filled with hatred and anger as he stared at Nan Fong. There was an inexhaustible flame of anger in those eyes. I know you are outraged now and would like to kill me. Unfortunately, I will live well, and now I will let you live, but only to let you witness my strength. I will do better than when you ruled the Nan family. The old master closed his eyes in grief, tears flowing down his old face, his body trembling, and he clenched his fists tightly. I'm sorry. I was wrong back then. I shouldn't have brought a wolf into the house and ruined your life. Later that old man, Rong Chi, will come in. Get ready to see him one last time. He's the only one left of those old guys who opposed me back then. Nan Fong flung his sleeve, turned around, and left. Me for extra chapters. The moment he walked out of the room, he gave a wink to the two guards at the door. The two guards dragged the woman out of the room and gradually disappeared from the old man's eyes. In the silent courtyard, Nan Fong stopped in his tracks. The woman behind him had also stopped weeping and was staring at Nan Fong respectfully. Master, how long do I need to live with this face? Nan City will soon be completely under my control, and there will be no need to threaten that old man anymore. Nan Fang's eyes sank, and a flash of coldness appeared in his eyes. If that woman, Nan Suyi, had not escaped, I wouldn't have needed someone to impersonate her. But you can only see him through the door. Otherwise, that old man will notice that you're not her. Chapter 17:19. Escaping too, the woman bowed respectfully to him. Rong Chi was standing in front of old Master Nan in the room, his hair white, and his face looked dull. Rong Chi's voice was choked with sobs. Maybe this time, I won't be able to come back. The old master shuddered and closed his eyes as if that were all he needed to calm his heart. Old master, why? Why did you give this position to Nan Fong? Do you know how badly Wu Wei and the others died just because of a disagreement? He had used that as an excuse to kill them. Rong Chi closed his eyes in grief. He had thought that he could swallow his anger and survive until the last day, but in the end, Nan Fong still did not want to let him go. It was impossible to say that he had no grudge against the old master. However, he still hoped that the old master would stand up again and take charge of the Nan family. Old master, back then you said that young lady was rebellious and made you fall sick, so you passed your position to Nan Fong. Is that true? You searched for young lady for so many years. It was hard to find her. Even if young lady disobeyed, you would not be mad at her. But why did you make such a decision to put the Nan family in such a situation? Do you know what the people said about our Nan family? Rong Chi cried. Old Master Nan's fists trembled harder, but he knew that he could say nothing in his life. He could give up the Nan family. He could give up everything, just to keep his daughters safe. The old master took Rong Chi's hand, trembling. His thin fingers slowly traced a word in Rong Chi's palm. The only person left of those who had been with him was Rong Chi, and he did not want him to die in Nan Fang's hands. Rong Chi was trembling, and he held the old master's hand tightly. Old master, do you have something you want to say but can't say? Did that bastard threaten you with something? Young lady, she said you drove her out of the family back then, but I don't believe it. Where did she go? The old master opened his mouth. He could not make a sound, but his mouth shape was the same as the word he had just written, go. Go as far away as you can and never come back. Me for extra chapters. Old master. Rong Chi's eyes filled with tears. He eventually let go of the old man's hand, took a few steps back, and bowed respectfully. Master, take care. All these years, Nanfang had never allowed him to leave Nan City. This time, this opportunity has come. If the old master would not say anything, he must find her even if he has to go through thousands of mountains and rivers. He wanted to know the truth. Rong Chi did not look at the old master again. He firmly turned around and walked out of the manor. He did not know if he would have another chance to come back again, and was afraid that he would not be able to leave again once he returned. The old master gazed in the direction of Rong Chi's departure and was lost in his thought. If you can leave this time, don't come back. Nan City is not the same as it used to be. Feng Manor, Wushang City. Tianya looked panicked. He rushed toward Nan Xian, who was guarding outside of the room, and grabbed his lapels. Chapter 1720. Escaping 3. Where is my dear granddaughter? Is it the day of her delivery, still a few days away? And why is she suddenly giving birth now? He had not even thought of a name for his great-granddaughter yet. So how could she be born so soon? Nan Xian looked at Tian Ya's hand, holding his lapel, and gently slapped his hand away. He then turned around to enter the room. Fu Chun stopped Nan Xian. His eyes were filled with determination. Mother said you can't go in. Get out of the way. Nan Xian's eyes were slightly sunken, and his voice was a little colder. It had been several hours, and there had been no news from her, so he must stay by Qinger's side to calm her. You can't go in. Mother can control everything, so you don't have to worry. The little brat is so stubborn, refusing to come out, but according to the old lady, when the water is broken, the baby has to be born. But that little brat's reluctance to come out is also a real torment. Fu Chen was a little annoyed. What if it's a sign that this kid will always make mother angry? It's fine if it's a little sister, but if it's a little brother, he'll probably get beaten up every day. Nan Xian wanted to say something, but suddenly he saw the whole sky darkened. Powerful energy came from behind him, overwhelming the entire sky. Tian Ya's face darkened. He turned sideways and looked at the group of people coming from a short distance. All were dressed in black, gathering in the sky above Feng Manor. Imperial Palace. Qi Feng was sitting in the Imperial study room, reading his memoirs. Suddenly, he seemed to notice something and looked up abruptly. He was shocked when he saw something in the sky. Why are so many Emperor warriors coming to the Wushang city? He subconsciously wiped the sweat from his forehead and stood up from his chair. Call out the palace's skilled masters and go with me to take a look. Yes, Emperor. The eunuch panicked and ran over to hug Qi Fang's thigh. Emperor, please don't go. It's too dangerous. Qi Fang's face darkened and kicked him. I'm the Emperor of Wushang City. How can I not care? Furthermore, it came from General Manor, and my children are still there. So I have to go now. His people might be in danger, and he could not sit idly by. Me for extra chapters. Qi Feng flung his sleeve, ignoring the eunuch, and walked out of the imperial study room. At the same time, old Master Helion also got up in shock and immediately ordered, Guard, watch over Yuer. Don't let her go out today. Feng Manor. Tianya looked at the group of people floating in the sky, expressionlessly. Among those people, he even saw a few familiar figures with a cold smile on their faces. I was wondering who it was. It turned out to be the old dog of the Nan family, who has allowed you to come to Wushang City. The leader was a yellow-robed old man, looking down at Tianya arrogantly. If she is willing to return the beast, we might even let her die properly. Tianya's face darkened. He growled. Who told you that my granddaughter has stolen your spirit beast? Chapter 17:21. Escaping Ivy, the yellow-robed old man sneered. This courtyard full of spirit beasts is the best evidence. Ha ha! Who told you that all the spirit beasts in the world belong to your Nan family? Today, if you want to hurt my granddaughter in my Feng Manor, then I, Feng Wuhui, will make sure that you have no way out in this life. Only a few people in this land knew this name. Wuhui? The beasts agreed to contract with her. Does that mean the beasts belong to her? In my view, Feng Ruching is a thief and the spirit beast is a traitor. Both of them are unforgivable. The yellow-robed old man raised his hand and waved. A burst of spiritual energy came out as fast as lightning, and without giving anyone a chance to react, it sank into the leopard's chest. The leopard stared at it with wide eyes and fell to the ground in a pool of blood. This is the price of betrayal. We, the Nan family, would rather not have disobedient spirit beasts like this than take them for granted. Tianya's face darkened. A leopard? It's a big cat. The Nan family has hurt the cats again. How dare you? Tianya shouted furiously and rushed over to those in the sky. Nan Xian did not make any move. He stood at the door as his cold gaze slowly filled with murderous intent. It was not that he did not want to help Tianya, but behind the door was the girl he loved, and he would always protect her first. He must stand guard here. No one was allowed to enter this room. As expected, some people might have heard the voice from the room and knew that Feng Ruching was inside. They looked at each other before rushing down to Nan Xian. Nan Xian had drawn his long sword. His eyes grew colder, and his white robe swirled around in the strong wind. Xiaoqin. Ahua pounced on the leopard in the pool of blood, tears rolling down its face, with endless anger and sadness. Xiaoqin was a leopard it had wooed from the Spirit Beast Mountain. It was good-looking and the type of leopard that it liked. It was killed before it had a chance to pursue it. Ahua straightened its body, and its eyes were bloodshot, staring at the group of people in the sky. Why do we need the Nan family to control our freedom? The spirit beasts have been living freely in land of no return for so many years. Just because we don't want to draw contracts with the Nan family, we have become traitors? Ridiculous. Me for extra chapters. To us, she is the best master who gives us the respect we deserve and who has given us hope again. You keep saying that the Spirit Beast Mountain is yours. The Nan family is so powerful. Why don't you say that the sun is yours too? The Nan family was famous for its dominance in the Spirit Beast Mountain, but no beast was willing to obey the Nan family. The spirit beast caught by the Nan family would eventually be treated as a slave. As a leopard, we also have the dignity of a leopard. I've hidden from the Nan family for so many years to survive, and today, I will break your arms even if I have to risk my life. Its voice echoed through the night sky of the entire Wushang City. All people in Wushang City could hear its voice. Indeed, the Nan family is so dominating, cruel, and inhumane. They will be punished for their evil acts sooner or later. Chapter 17:22. Escaping Vahua roared and rushed toward the Nan family's skilled masters. The other spirit beasts were not as strong as these people, but they stood bravely, with eyes filled with rage. The blood had stained the ground red, so vividly apparent in Nan City. A dragon whistle came out from Nan Manor, echoing through the night sky for a long time. The black dragon desperately hit the cage with its huge body. Its breath became more terrifying, and its bloodthirsty eyes carried a cruel light. It remembered back then it did not see little Nine in its dream. It chose to seal itself and go to her side no matter what. It was in another world. Initially, it was unable to appear before her, and it could only look at little Nine silently. However, its little Nine was so weak that everyone could bully her. However, how could it bear to let her be bullied all the time? It drained the last shred of its strength again and chose to turn into a gray dog and grow up with her. It could protect her and not let anyone bully her. However, it still could not keep her safe. She still died. It wanted to find her again as soon as possible, so it stopped eating and stayed at her grave until its last breath. Good people want to take it, but they did not know that little Nine was its life. Without her, it was like losing all its breath. It forgot about that life, which it had really experienced, and thought it was a dream. It thought it was because it missed little Nine so much that it met her in the dream. It had accompanied little Nine for 3 lifetimes, one more than that wild man, but little Nine's heart had never been with it. However, that was fine for it. The greatest happiness was to be able to accompany her, so it would not allow anyone to hurt her again. Roar! A dragon's roar shook the heavens and the earth. An infinite power emanated from its huge body with a terrifying aura. Suddenly, the iron bars of the huge cage broke. Powerful energy spread out instantly, shattering the huge cage behind it. Such a loud sound naturally disturbed the people outside the door. Me for extra chapters. 2 guards quickly pushed open the prison door and walked in. They were greeted by a burst of dragon's breath, which in a moment had turned them into ashes. The black dragon rushed out of prison and flew into the sky, heading out of Nan City. Little Nine, wait for me. This time, I won't put you in any danger, and I don't want to wait for you to come back again, just like I did 1,000 years ago. 1,000 years of lonely waiting. I can no longer endure. Master! In the Nan family's main courtyard, Nan Fong was lying on the bed with his wife, but before he had time to do anything, a panicked voice came from outside the door. The man ran in without even knocking on the door. Nan Fang's face turned cold. He shouted angrily, "Take him out and behead him!" The guard panicked and knelt on the ground. Master, something bad has happened. The Black Dragon. The Black Dragon has escaped. What? Nan Fang's face was cold and sullen as he got up and put on his coat. That cage is made of diamond and is specially designed to trap such spirit beasts. How did it manage to escape? Chapter 17:23. Daughter of Heaven and Earth I don't know. The guards were trembling with fear, and their eyes were all filled with terror. Nan Fong ignored the guards and walked out with a cold face. When he reached the dungeon, he found that the cage used to imprison the Black Dragon was broken. Go after it. Nan Fang's face darkened. I have caught him before. I can catch him again, and no spirit beast can escape from my hands. Yes, master. The guards responded respectfully. Wushang City was dark. Dark clouds were all over the sky. Tianyu was dressed in red, smirking at the crowd. You come to bully my granddaughter, have you asked my opinion? Even if Nan Fong, that dog comes, I will still kill him. Huh? The old man was arrogant, as if these people in front of him were nothing. A cold sweat broke out on Feng Lianking's forehead. He could not resist these attackers, and his face grew solemn and dark. Lianqing, Tianyu swung his sword to the enemies expressionlessly. You go and stop the Imperial family and the Hellion family. These battles are no longer within their reach. For Qi Fong, he had no great affection for him. Tianyu was just looking for a place to stay that day. As for old Master Hellion, he had followed Tianyu all his life. Of course, Tianyu did not want to drag him down. But Master Yu, Feng Lianqing raised his head in panic. He held his sword tightly in his hand, refusing to take a step back. Go, Lianqing. We can't drag these innocents to this battle. And don't let the people come out. The old man's red robes fluttered in the air with a domineering aura. Blood splashed upon Nan Xian's handsome face, but his eyes were still clear and cold. He was dressed like an immortal in white, as if no matter how bloody the battle was, he would always look like a pure lotus, not stained by any blood. He held his sword tightly. For inside this room was his beloved wife, the one that he would protect with his life. Feng Lianqing gritted his teeth and looked at Tianya, who was bathing in blood in midair, and said, "Master, wait for me. I'll be back soon." His master was fighting with others. Me for extra chapters. How could he retreat? But right now, he had more important things to do and could only join his master later inside the room. Feng Ruqing was lying on the bed, her eyes closed as if she had isolated herself from the world. The noise of the outside world did not affect her. Qing Han's eyes were filled with tears as she stared at a woman next to her. Yes, a woman. Ever since Feng Ruqing returned to General Manor, Tianya had hired a midwife for her, who was actually very famous in Wushang City. It was said that with her help, even a woman who had a difficult delivery could give birth quickly. Feng Ruqing felt that it was unnecessary to hire a midwife. After all, she could heal herself, and with Qing Han and Fu Chun by her side, her child would not be in danger. However, Tianya insisted on it, so she could not help but agree to have a midwife. This woman was not easy to hire. However, Tianya was kind to her, so with only one word from Tianya, she had rushed over to help Feng Ruqing. Chapter 1724, Daughter of Heaven and Earth 2-inch Sister Hui. Why did my mother faint? Isn't she about to give birth? Qiu Hui was also worried. This was the first time she had encountered such a situation. Feng Ruqing fell into a coma before the baby was born. She had tried everything she could to wake her up, but it did not work. I don't know if her baby is suffocating or not, but I only know that her water has broken, and if it's not born, both mother and child will be in danger. Qing Han was so frightened that her face turned pale. She cried, "Mother, don't sleep. If you don't wake up, you and the little sister will die." Qiu Hui started getting nervous. This was the first time Tianya asked for her help. If she could not save young Lady Feng, perhaps she could never see him again in her life. There's no choice but to cut open her belly. Cut open? Qing Han's small face turned even paler as she lifted her head and stared blankly at Qiu Hui. "Mother will die." Qiu Hui stroked Qing Han's small head reassuringly and turned to look at Feng Ruqing. "I'm an expert, so don't worry. She'll be in danger if I don't take her out." After Qiu Hui said this, she took out a small box. She had all the tools ready and even prepared alcohol to sterilize it. Qing Han was still a little worried and jumped in front of her, not allowing Qiu Hui to take a step near Feng Ruqing. "No, you can't cut my mother's belly. Little girl, it's all right. I'm good at it. I'll do what I've promised Tianya. If she loses her life because of childbirth, then I can only give her my life." She owed Tianya. Tianya had saved her life. Of course, she would not joke about his granddaughter's life. Little Qing Han bit her lip, tears streaming down her face. She looked at Feng Ruqing before turning to Qiu Hui. "Grandfather said we could trust you, but if something happens to Mother, I will kill you immediately." The little girl was still young, but her words had shocked Qiu Hui. However, she did not have time to think about it. She took the knife and walked toward Feng Ruqing. The knife was very sharp. However, before her knife could touch Feng Ruqing, a light suddenly flashed, and with a bang, the knife bounced away, shocking her. This, Qiu Hui was startled. Qing Han tilted her head to look at Feng Ruqing lying on the bed, and said, "Little sister said, Mother will not be in danger. Don't touch Mother." Me for extra chapters. Qiu Hui was stunned. She can communicate with an unborn child? This little girl is really something. Qiu Hui shook her head helplessly. "I guess it's your mother who doesn't allow me to cut open her belly. It's not Mother. It's little sister." Qing Han's expression was solemn. "Little sister won't let you touch Mother. Otherwise, she will be angry." Qiu Hui was speechless. "If I can't touch her now, how will the baby get out? It would have been fine if young Lady Feng is awake, but she's unconscious now. If this continues, she and her child might be in danger." Chapter 1725, Daughter of Heaven and Earth 3. The sun was so hot that even the ground was scorching. There were countless skilled masters under the hot sun. A young girl in a long white dress, stained with blood, was looking at them with her bloodshot eyes among those men. She looked so demonic, like a demon that had come out of hell. Feng Ruching stopped in her tracks, and her eyes fell upon the young girl's delicate face. Half of her face was covered in blood, and the sword in her hand was dripping blood. Chiyu, because of you, the people of Savage Land are plunged into misery, and because of you, countless innocent people have lost their lives. You are the devil's daughter, doomed to destruction. You have killed so many people, so today, we will kill you. She laughed like the king of hell, with hatred and anger, and even her eyes turned completely red. If only I were really the devil's daughter, I wouldn't have suffered all your humiliation back then. You destroyed my clan. You were scared that I would take revenge, so you sealed my strength and talent. But luckily, someone has helped me to break the seal. And now you want to kill me because you are afraid of me. I'm not the devil's daughter. I'm a descendant of Tian Ling clan. You're the ones who made me do this. Savage Land has now become barren. This is the retribution that God has given you for exterminating my Tian Ling clan. The man on the other side sneered. Chiyu, you have been poisoned and will die soon. If you die, peace will be restored to Savage Land once again, and Tian Ling clan will have no choice but to die if they are unwilling to submit to us. Tian Ling clan was the son of heaven. They were uniquely gifted but had a good nature and would easily trust others. Perhaps she was an exception to Tian Ling clan. However, even though she was mischievous as a child, she had never hurt anyone. She had turned out to be the person she was today. It was all because of these people. If I die today, I will drag all of you to hell as my companions. Huh? Chiyu laughed wildly. Her energy gradually increased, causing the whole sky to darken. Storm emerged from around her with a solemn aura of death. Me for extra chapters. Chiyu, are you trying to kill yourself? Perhaps the energy was too strong, so strong that it struck fear into those people's hearts. Since I'm about to die, why not drag all of you with me? Chiyu stepped toward the enemy's side. Feng Ruching stood outside the battle. She was like a bystander, watching the war calmly. Blood stained the earth red. Everywhere she stepped, countless people fell to the ground. No one could stop this young girl. Time went by, and all those who had come after her fell to the ground. Caius' energy gradually dissipated, and the clouds in the sky had dispersed, restoring the previous brightness. Her body went limp, paralyzed on the ground. Those people had died, but she did not feel any happiness. Instead, she was filled with sorrow. The people of Tian Ling clan were too kind. Chapter 1726. Daughter of Heaven and Earth IV. If not, they would not be destroyed by those people, Chiyu smirked. Perhaps she was the exception. She would make the people who had hurt her suffer more than they could imagine. Unfortunately, she would never get another chance to do so. Little girl, what happened to you? In the void, a voice came, and Chiyu, who was still in grief, hurriedly raised her head and looked at the woman standing in the air. It was such a stunningly beautiful face. Feng Ruching, who was standing not far away from the battle, was stunned, and her eyes fell on that familiar face when she appeared. That face. She looks like me. The Ninth Emperor? Why do I dream of her? But you were not only poisoned this time. The Ninth Emperor landed next to the young girl, sighing. I can cure the poison, but there's nothing I could do about the fact that you've given up your chance of survival to boost your strength. Chiyu lowered her head and smiled faintly. It was her choice. She had risked her life for the sake of revenge. However, she did not expect to see the Ninth Emperor one more time before she died. Chiyu put her finger in her mouth and bit it. She then took the Ninth Emperor's hand and slowly drew a talisman on her palm. I have no father and no mother. Heaven is my mother, and the earth is my father. The clan is all of my hope. When Tian Ling clan fell, all my hopes were dashed, but you broke the seal for me and gave me hope again. She said that she was the exception of the Tian Ling clan, because she was born without parents. That was why Tian Ling clan wanted to wait for her to grow up and make her the Tian Ling clan head. Ninth Emperor, this is my Tian Ling clan's mark. If, I mean, if I have an afterlife, I will come to you. You have to wait for me. You have to wait for me. The Ninth Emperor held her palm lightly. I will chi you. I will wait for you. The young girl smiled with great satisfaction. Blood flowed out of her mouth, and her pair of bloodshot eyes gradually regained their previous clarity. It was like the first time she saw Chi Yu. She was the same little girl with clear eyes and a determined face. Until her death, the little girl's eyes fixed on the Ninth Emperor, as if to say, "You must wait for me." She did not understand the meaning of this dream me for extra chapters. Her eyes were still fixed upon the Ninth Emperor. The Ninth Emperor was dressed in white, and her back was turned to Feng Ruqing, so Feng Ruqing could not see her expression clearly. However, Feng Ruqing felt that the woman in front of her was somewhat lonely and sad at this moment. She probably would not be able to express it. That was why she did not show her reluctance to that young girl. However, Feng Ruqing did not know how deep the friendship between the Ninth Emperor and Chi Yu was back then. Since she was willing to come to her, their relationship must have been quite deep. Unfortunately, she was late. So, she blamed herself. Feng Ruqing wanted to go forward, even though the Ninth Emperor was from her past. At this moment, she wanted to comfort her. She had just taken a few steps when she suddenly felt dizzy, and the sound of a cry reached her ears. "Mother, wake up! If you don't wake up, my sister will suffocate and die." Chapter 1727. Hello. Chiyu Feng Ruqing's head was buzzing as if there was a force dragging her out, and she felt like her head would explode. When her head cleared up, she gradually opened her eyes. What came into her eyes was a small face full of tears, looking at her with worried eyes. Seeing that Feng Ruqing had woken up, Qing Han pouted and cried, "Mother, you finally woke up. You scared me. I thought you wouldn't wake up." Feng Ruqing touched the little girl's small head, her heart aching a little. "I'm fine, don't worry." Little Qing Han nodded. "Then, Mother, you should give birth to my sister quickly. I'm afraid that she might die." Feng Ruqing did not know why she was so certain that inside her belly now was a little girl. Young Lady Feng, Qiu Hui was subconsciously relieved and smiled faintly. "Since you're already fine, then let's start." Qing Han is right. It's dangerous to hold the baby in for a long time after the water is broken. Outside the room, Nancian was dressed in white robes stained with blood. He guarded the door behind him, refusing to take a step back. Tianyu was standing in the middle of the sky, and countless people were surrounding him, staring at him like he was their prey. The others from General Manor were no match for these people and had already fallen in a pool of blood roar. Suddenly, a dragon's roar echoed through the sky, shaking the ground. Everyone looked up and saw a huge black dragon flying across the sky toward General Manor. Its huge body covered the whole sky, and its fierce eyes made people tremble. "Isn't this the dragon that Manor Master caught earlier? How did it get out?" The crowd was shocked as they looked at the dragon that came across the sky like lightning, panicked. "Who dares to touch my little nine?" The black dragon roared angrily, and its scorching dragon breath spewed out like lava, instantly turning a man into ashes. Me for extra chapters. Inside the room, Qiu Hui heaved a sigh of relief. She lifted her hand and held the little one in her arms, smiling at Feng Ruqing. "Young Lady Feng, congratulations. It's a beautiful little girl." "It is a little girl." Feng Ruqing looked at her baby gently. She did not know that the moment her little girl was born, the spiritual qi in the entire Wushang city had become extremely dense, so dense that it was almost foggy. On this day, countless people in Wushang city took advantage of this spiritual qi storm to make a breakthrough, and a few years later, these people would become powerful men. Qiu Hui placed the little girl in her arms. Her eyes were so clear, and she did not cry. She was giggling, and she was so cute. The moment she looked at the little girl's face, the pair of eyes suddenly appeared in her mind, clear as water, with firmness and determination. Chapter 1728. Hello, Chiyu too. It was such a profound moment that it was like an imprint engraved on her heart. At this moment, she finally understood why, before the birth of her child, she had passed out and dreamed about those things. Perhaps it was the mark she had left on her from the previous life that made her aware of her origins. Hello, Chiyu. Feng Ruching smiled as bright as the sun. We meet again. The ninth emperor had fulfilled her promise in this life. The little girl stretched out her arms to hug Feng Ruching, as if in response to her. Mother! Mother! Qing Han jumped to Feng Ruching's side. Little sister seems to like you very much, but since when does she have a name? Is her name Nanchiyu? Feng Ruching smiled, holding the little girl in her arms gently. Her eyes were filled with softness. Xiaohui looked at Feng Ruching blankly. Chi, this name? I think I've heard it somewhere. However, she could not seem to recall it. Little Qing Han looked at her little sister, and she stretched out her arms to hug her. Mother, I want to hug my little sister. The little girl cried out loud, pulling Feng Ruching's sleeve as she refused to let go of her hand or let Qing Han hug her. Little Qing Han's mouth dropped open, a little lost, and almost cried out. Mother, why doesn't little sister like me? She talked to me even when she was in your womb. But why don't you like your sister after you're born? Qing Han, maybe she's still a little uncomfortable with this world. She'll be fine in a few days. Feng Ruching smiled faintly. Her gaze turned to the door and frowned. Is there a fight outside? Oh, don't worry. General Tian, you will deal with it. You just gave birth. Feng Ruching stood up with the little girl in her arms. Her face was still a little pale, but she was strong, and her steps were firm. I'm going out to take a look. Xiaohui opened her mouth and wanted to stop her, but Feng Ruching had already gone out the door. Qing Han smiled brightly. It's all right. Mother is very strong. She can go out. The herbal dishes in her mother's hands were used to nourish her body. She was not an ordinary person, so she could not be affected. The door was pushed open. Me for extra chapters. The moment Feng Ruching walked out, she noticed that the entire courtyard was filled with the smell of blood. Countless corpses were lying on the ground, piled up into mountains. Feng Ruching was startled. She looked down, and she suddenly noticed that among those corpses were her beloved spirit beasts. Anger tinged her heart and made her eyes bloodshot. They were in the midst of a grueling battle when the sky in Wushang City was filled with spiritual qi. They had never experienced that kind of spiritual qi before. However, now, after all, they were in the middle of a battle, and no one dared to cultivate. Even so, this shocking feeling still made them feel lost in their thoughts until Feng Ruching's appearance. That's the woman. Kill her. The murderous intent of the Nan family's members surged as they rushed toward Feng Ruching. From the beginning to the end, only Rong Qi remained unmoved. Just now, everyone else was too focused on the battle, so he was the only one who noticed that there was a flash of white light from Feng Ruching's room the moment the spiritual qi storm was formed. Chapter 1729. Hello. Chiyu, they knew that General's granddaughter was giving birth, and then Feng Ruching came out with the child. His eyes flashed white, and he gritted his teeth. Old Master was acting strangely, probably threatened by Nanfang. These people have no way back. Then if I work for Tianya, can he get rid of Nanfang and return the Nan family to Old Master's hands? A flash of ruthlessness crossed his eyes, and as he saw one man continue to charge at Feng Ruching and the others, he quickly drew his knife and slashed that man. Blood burst out, spilling down from the sky. The man turned his head in shock and looked at Rong Qi incredulously. Rong Qi. Everyone in the Nan family stopped abruptly and looked at Rong Qi incredulously. The old man who headed the group was filled with shock and fury. He then shouted harshly, Rong Qi, how dare you to betray our master? Rong Qi sneered. So what if I betray him? I can't do anything in Nan City, but now this is the Nan family's land and all of you have no way to return. How is that possible? The old man growled, don't you dare accuse master. Oh, it seems that you don't know. If Tianya is so easy to deal with, Why did your master tolerate him for so many years? Have you ever thought about it? If we can return safely, why would he let me leave Nan City? Bullshit. The old man trembled with anger. My master is only cruel to outsiders, but he is so generous to his people. Without him, there would be no Nan family today, and we would not be able to have so many spirit beasts. But Rong Chi smirked. Did he allow you to bring out the spirit beasts? He didn't want to waste so many spirit beasts because he knew you would never come back, so he let you leave the beasts behind. You could check on those who had died, and the moment they died, the contract with the beasts was automatically broken. What they had signed were soul contracts. The contract was valid as long as their soul remains intact. However, if a man died, his soul would remain unless someone destroyed it intentionally to break the contract. The old man walked toward one of the dead men on the ground, reached out with a trembling hand, and touched the old man's forehead suddenly. His fingers shook, and he raised his head in shock. Me for extra chapters. Impossible. The contract is gone. The soul is gone. The soul tokens of the people of the Nan family were in their manor master's hands. They obeyed him, fearing that he would damage their soul tokens. But why? They were just out on a mission, and their master not only wanted them dead, but had also wiped out their souls in order not to waste the beasts. No! The old man's voice was sharp and somewhat heartbreaking. I don't believe Manor Master wouldn't do this to me. He also promised me that when I returned, he would reward me with some powerful spirit beasts. I don't believe it. Rong Chi sneered. Nan Fong is a ruthless man. It is not surprising that he would do such a thing. Believe it or not, I don't want to follow him anymore. If it wasn't for the old master being seriously ill in bed, I would have left long ago. I have watched all those old guys I used to drink with die at his hands. Do you know how heartbroken I am? That you're tuning into the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.